Hi, how are you? Sorry if I have a sore throat. Just came from an action.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here with us. Wonderful. How are you?
I mean, it's been quite a few months with COVID in New York. I'm from New York, for everyone who's tuning in. Thank you for having me, Ayana. But we just did a really beautiful action in Manhattan to request that we defund the NYPD by $1 billion.
So you've been organizing a bunch of this stuff. Your sort of day job is with the Working Families Party, and some of your organizing with that, but you do a lot of other stuff around that. So tell us about the broader defund the police work that you're involved with.
There's been this call from the Movement for Black Lives, which I'm a part of and a member of, that is defund the police, because over the past 20 to 30 years, police budgets have ballooned. So in New York City, where I live, even in 2004, it was about $5 billion, almost $5 billion. It was like 4.9. It is now $6 billion. For every dollar that the city spends on policing, they spend I think it's 25 cents of that on housing, 15 cents on health and services. And we know that the safest communities are communities that have investment in their schools, in their, in education, in housing, right? In healthcare, and especially in a time like this, where we were massively underprepared as a country and as a city for COVID-19. We had, one of the highest death rates. It's like an alarming thing that we still want to spend so much money on policing. And so this broader policing movement, because right now cities across the country are going through budget changes, they're going through their budgets. New York's budget is due July 1st. And so we have right now across the country to demand defunding of the police. Personally, I am an abolitionist. I believe we need a new framework for public safety in our country. I believe in public safety, but I believe that communities know how to protect their own communities and what ways we can get to really better public safety.
So one of my favorite things about you is the art and joy that you bring to all of this protest work. And it's been really fun to sort of watch you in action over the last few weeks. Obviously, this is a moment that's full of intensity and trauma, and the reason that we're doing any of this at all, with all of the murders of Black people by the police that just keep happening.
Mm-hmm.
But you always find a way to bring a new level of creativity and often music into this work. So tell us about the role that music plays in your organizing and inspiring people.
Yeah, so I think it's a fundamental principle of mine to just be joyous and have music in my life, and it's literally saved me. Musical theater, tap dancing saved me as a kid, and which is why I'm a big nerd. And for me, the joy and the history of music is actually in resistance. So when enslaved Africans were trying to escape slavery, they sang, "Follow the drinking gourd, follow the drinking gourd." And since then, and indigenous peoples have music and drums, and every culture has music as a key part of not just our popular culture, but a part of resistance. And then there's music that is born out of resistance. Hip hop is an entire genre that was born when the Bronx was burning, and new people in New York were struggling with living lives in poverty. And so, that's why the message, right? Don't push me because I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. Hip hop was born out of resistance and music. And so for me, it's it goes hand in hand. I can't have Emma Goldman says, if I can't dance, this is not my revolution. And like for me, it's like dance, sing, chant, like all of the things. It's not my revolution if I can't dance and sing and chant and be weird and be a weird nerd because I also like Star Wars and stuff like that. So
that you're a part of is the Resistance Revival Chorus. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we founded the Resistance Revival Chorus in the summer of 2017. After so just month after month after month. I mean, you were a part of the March for Science. There was so many marches: the Women's March, the Tax March, I could just go on and on and on. And and so so many people were just struggling because everything was just like the Muslim ban, just all these things that were happening. It was like every month into 2017, which now feels like I'm like, oh, that seemed a little bit more reasonable than where we are now, which is wild. But we wanted to actually bring joy. I think that it is really rough out there in our communities and on the streets. And if you can't sing and dance, and the Resistance Revival Chorus was born. And it was a collective of over 80 women in New York, and we have spin-offs in Atlanta, San Diego, Rochester, Buffalo. Yeah, we have their choruses in different parts of the country because we created a toolkit for people to start their own choruses. And basically, we've been singing and performing. We started out performing each month, and with these Resistance Revival Nights. And now this year we have an album coming out. It would have come out in May, but because of coronavirus, we haven't been able to make the final edits, but it's called This Joy, and I'm really excited, and we'll share when it comes out, but folks should follow the @Resistance Revival Chorus, one word, on Instagram.
@Resistance Revival Chorus. I've gotten a chance to sing with you guys at the impeachment protest in New York, which was, and this crew just shows up wearing white to lead people in song at these moments of gathering, and it's super beautiful. So thanks for adding that to this work. I think there's just a long history of resistance and resilience that draws on music, and it's been really fun to watch the way that you've incorporated new songs. Resistance Revival Chorus is using a lot of older songs, traditional spirituals, some newer things, but you've been changing the lyrics to some hip-hop jams to invent some new chants. Do you want to maybe share that with us?
Sure. Yeah, totally. So we have this chant that we're saying called, the song, there's a song called Cut It, Cut It, Cut It, and we've changed it to Cut It, Cut It, Cut It, Cut It. What? Your budget's way too high. You need to cut it, which is symbolizing the NYPD's budget. You'll just catch me any day to singing a song that's made up. Today we changed the lyrics to oh, when the saints, I was we need to defund the police. We need to defund the police now. Oh, how I love to be in that number. We need to defund the police now.
Yeah, I want to be the last person I chatted with so we could end with music. So how can we support your work? What do you got coming up next?
Yeah, so one thing I'll say is, so my day job is I'm a director of strategy of the Working Families Party. We're a political home that fights for working people and recruits the best candidates on the ballot. We gladly, in the primary, supported Elizabeth Warren, and yes, and you got that Blue New Deal for us, which was amazing. And we, we're going to be launching a program soon. I won't go too into it, but we're going to be launching a program soon. You can check out workingfamilies.org. Again, workingfamilies.org. It's going to be coming out this week, where we're going to pledge to support candidates who stand up to police union money, who don't take police union money, that are going to fight for be anti-racist accomplices and be anti-racist electives. And so I'm really excited for that to come out. We'll definitely spread the word. And yeah, I mean, we need to, protesting is important, but I do both. I protest and I make sure the power of the vote is out there. And we have to build a bench of people who will fight for things like the Blue New Deal, who will fight for things like defunding the police, who will fight for real criminal justice reform in our prisons, who will fight to make sure that we have housing, healthcare, and that our communities feel safe. Because all of that, obviously, the old saying is when, white folks get the cold, we get the flu. And when, when it's really real right now, with all of this, the pandemic, all of the things that could have been avoided to the way that they were, but, the extent that we've seen this happen. George Floyd's murder could have been avoided. We've been talking about chokeholds for a really long time. We've been talking about, since Eric Garner, even before that, all of these things could have been avoided. And so, you can go out and march if you're willing and able to, but also we need to show the power of our political power. And so, yeah, you can get involved by going to workingfamilies.org, and I'll put it here. You can text WFP to 30403. Boom. And find out more about what we're doing. And I really, really appreciate you for having me.
Oh my gosh, this is the best. I'm sorry that we're not hanging out in person. I have to stay away from crowds, going back and forth to the farm, my old frail mother. But before we hop off, I would say Working Families Party is one of the few organizations I have a recurring donation to. I have huge respect for the work that you do, so thank you. If anyone else wants to join me in donating to the Working Families Party, your money will be well used if you care about the future of progressive politics. And so that's one thing. And the last question for you is, and everyone go check out At Resistance Revival Chorus to support them and see when their album's coming out. The music is so beautiful, and they've really been showing up for all of those different justice causes that are all connected. Okay, so 2 tiny questions that are actually enormous questions. 1, if racism didn't exist, what would you be doing with your time instead?
Well, does capitalism and patriarchy count too? Because I would still be fighting it out. So if racism didn't exist, I would definitely have a little bit more extra time. However, I do believe that capitalism as a system and patriarchy as a very ingrained system need to be destroyed, and they're all intertwined with one other. So I would still be out there fighting.
1 down, 2 to go.
Exactly. I'd be like, all right, we got him. We need a victory, so I'll take it. And 2 more to go. But I probably, if I wasn't doing any,
that thing, but we're gonna need to do some other things.
Yep. If I wasn't doing politics, and I was because we were living in an equitable and just society, and I was like, you know what? I put in my time. I would probably be a music teacher, and teaching. It's my dream to teach musical theater to kids in theater school, not necessarily in public schools, but in community theater.
It'd be so good.
I would love it. I love theater games. I loved them as a kid. I still want to play them. Nobody wants to play with me when you're an adult. So yeah, those would be my answers.
Last question. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, Lord, there's so many people I want to give a shout out to, but I will give a shout out, if I could do 2 folks. I want to give a shout out to Jessica Bird, who runs 3 Point Strategies and is one of our unsung heroes in the progressive political movement. She's this Black woman who is just phenomenal, and I love her to pieces. She trains and works with Black candidates, particularly a lot of mothers who lost their children to police violence. She helped Michael Brown's mother run in St. Louis or in Ferguson, and she's just one of these people that is everywhere. She helped Stacey Abrams as her deputy campaign manager it's just, she's phenomenal, and she's supporting our people, and she runs the Electoral Justice Project of the Movement for Black Lives. And so Jessica Bird, I love you so much. You're amazing. And then the other person I always got to shout out is Tracy Corder, who is at ACRE, the Action Center for Racial and Economic Justice, or for racial equality. And she's done so much experience organizing. She's from Milwaukee originally. And she's the only person I know this far that during the middle of a direct action, we marched 110 miles from Charlottesville to DC after Heather Heyer was murdered and the white supremacists attacked the crowd in Charlottesville. And we marched, and she sang La Vie Bohème with me from Rent in a parking lot at the top of our lungs. And we didn't care who was watching. So you can follow Tracy is Blackness Everdeen. Great Twitter name. Blackness Everdeen, and Jessica Bird is Jessica L. Bird, BYRD on Twitter, and give them love and hope.
Dropped her handle in the comments. Nelini, if after you sign off you want to send some comments so people can check this stuff out, please do.
I will. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I love you so much. You're amazing, and you're doing great work out there, and send love to your mom for me.
Great work out there.
We all are. We're all out here in some sort of way. So yeah, and I hope your mom's doing well.
Thanks. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks for watching.